Hello and welcome to the Author Webinar Series, brought to you by the Nonfiction Authors Association and Writers Conference. Since 2010, we have helped thousands of writers learn to write, publish, and promote books that make a difference in the world. If you are seeking guidance for your own author journey and want to reach your goals faster, you can learn about membership benefits, courses, and additional resources by visiting nonfictionauthorsassociation.com. We look forward to connecting with you and hope you enjoy this webinar.
Hi, welcome authors. It is so great to have you join me today. I am Stephanie Chandler. I'm CEO of the Nonfiction Authors Association. We've been having a little pre-webinar chat, and it's been super fun to see where everyone's located. So far, I think we've accounted for 4 countries. I bet there's more joining us. So thank you all for spending your time with me today. We do free webinars twice a month. I love delivering them. We also bring in guest presenters. In fact, our next one will be with publicist Joanne McCall. She's going to be talking about publicity strategies. But today I'm talking to you about how to optimize for Amazon, how to reach the Amazon bestseller list, and more importantly, how to stay there. So I have lots of content for you. We will take questions from our live participants at the end, so stay with me here. So first point I want to drive home is that Amazon dominates, like it or not, and I will be honest, many of us in publishing have a real love-hate relationship with Amazon. But the fact is that some studies estimate as many as 70% of all books are being sold through Amazon, 75% of ebooks. Amazon owns Audible, they own Goodreads, they own KDP. They are a force to be reckoned with in publishing. So whether or not you like and appreciate Amazon, the fact is this is where authors, we need to spend our time optimizing for book sales on Amazon. Now, I get asked this question constantly. How do we reach the bestseller list on Amazon? Let's dig in. So first of all, the traditional best-selling book always came from the New York Times. If you could say your book was a bestseller, it meant it was on the bestseller list of the New York Times. Now, I know the vast majority of our audience here today, you're probably self-published, which is great. There's so many ways to do that today. But the fact is, it's nearly impossible to reach the New York Times bestsellers list as a self-published author unless you have a distribution to brick and mortar bookstores and you're driving sales there. The New York Times list is compiled primarily through brick and mortar bookstore sales across the US. And you have to sell between 5 to 10,000 copies in a single week, to land on the New York Times bestseller list. But the point here is that this is traditionally where the term best-selling author came from. And then people started reaching Amazon bestseller lists and started calling it a best-selling book. Now, that's fine. However, it is dramatically different to reach an Amazon bestseller list. You can hit the top of a bestseller list in a small niche category with as few as 15 to 20 book sales in a single day. So yes, it really is that easy. I'm going to show you how it's done, but I also want to drive home some key points. So it's great when you're there. This is one of my books. It was #1 and #4 new releases and authorship reference, bestsellers and authorship reference. So it's fantastically fun to have your book hit the top of the list. But what we really want to do is not just hit those lists for 5 minutes. We want to get there and stay there. So when your book is in the bestseller list, you get this #1 tag, or you get a current bestseller tag that shows on the book page. But really, here's the thing about hitting these bestsellers lists. There's no long-term value. So if you hit the top 10 of a category for 1 day or 1 hour, sure, you can claim your book as an Amazon bestseller, but most of us know it's really easy to do this. What I would really recommend is that we focus on trying to stay in the top 10 of a category for the long term. That is the goal. That is how we drive more book sales. And being hovering in the top 10 means you're getting more visibility for your book. It means it's selling. So I want to teach you how to do this today. You're going to learn how to do that. So it all starts with understanding the rankings on Amazon. There are two different types of rank. Bestseller rank, which you can see on any book page, is the total based on how many of the books are selling across all of the Amazon site. So a ranking of 10,000 is really good. I'm going to show you some numbers in a moment. Category rank is where we're really focused when it comes to reaching the bestsellers list and staying there. We want to hit the top 10 of one or more categories on Amazon. And the bottom line here is the lower the rank, the better the book is selling. Obviously, being number one in a category is a great place to be. Being 101 and 8 means there are 107 books selling better than yours. Still a great rank for a category. Now, for the overall bestseller rank on the site, you can kind of estimate how many books are being sold for that title based on those rankings. So, if a ranking is 100,000 or higher, the book is probably selling less than one book per day. If it's a ranking of 10,000, it might be selling, somewhere over 20 copies a day. These are rough numbers. Amazon doesn't publish their actual statistics. This is an estimate, but this gives you an idea of how well a book is selling. Now, when you make your category bestseller list, you have this tag on the book page. It looks great. We want to keep that tag on the page. Also, note that your book can have different rankings in different categories based on the edition of the book. This is Mark Paul's self published memoir, The Greatest Gambling Story Ever Told. You'll see the first listing here is for his Kindle edition. It's number one in horse racing, number two in horse racing in the Kindle store, number five in biographies of organized crime. By the way, the book is about, it's set in the 80s when Mark and a buddy placed a long shot bet on a filly to win the Kentucky Derby. And she ends up winning, and they have to go collect their seven-figure prize, not realizing they had placed the bet with the Mexican drug cartel. So it's a memoir that reads like a novel, which is, by the way, how our memoirs should read. And it's selling really well. So you'll see there are different categories for each edition of the book. There are bestsellers ranked for paperback. It's number 38 in traveler and explorer biographies. On number 324 in memoir books. And then if you go down to hardcover, it's in organized crime, true accounts. And the audiobook is in equestrian sports. So there's all these different categories depending on the version of the book. Now, when you have this happen, you can also have your book in multiple places in a single bestsellers list, which has been a common occurrence for Mark Paul. This book, by the way, is 5 years old and it is still rating number one. I'm going to tell you how he did this. So, categories are the key to all of this. We really want to figure out the best categories where our books will be listed. These are how we make our books discoverable, and it's also how we maintain that top 10 ranking in a category and hopefully over the long term. Now, when your book is published, whether you're doing it yourself, you're working with a hybrid publisher or a traditional publisher, all books are published with suggested categories based on the industry standard of BISAC codes. But Amazon has its own set of categories because Amazon does everything its own way. And what we want is for our books to appear in the most relevant subcategories where we can get the best visibility. So if what I recommend too is that you look at your competing author books. So for Mark Paul's competition, two books that he competes with constantly are Secretariat and Seabiscuit. These books have been around much longer than his. He still leads them, you guys. I'm going to tell you how. So if you look at this, the Kindle ranking, the Kindle categories for Secretariat, horse racing, history of sports history. Yes, Amazon has categories called history of sports and sports history. Seabiscuit is in horse racing, history of sports, and 20th century history of the US. All right, same thing with the print. Secretariats in horse racing, sports history, US state and local history. Seabiscuit is in horse racing, sports history, United States biographies. So when you're doing your research for competing books, you're going to take note of the categories that each edition is listed in. And back to Mark Paul's book, his books in horse racing books, horse racing on the Kindle store, which is a different category. On number 5 in biographies of organized crime. And then that's his Kindle book. His print book is in horse racing, traveler and explorer biographies, and number 324 in all memoirs. So different categories. And the point here is that you need to do some research to determine the best categories that your book should be placed in. So your homework from today's session is to go to Amazon and look up competing books and I like to do a spreadsheet. Get the print, the paperback edition, the Kindle edition, the hardcover if there is one, and the audiobook, and list the categories for each competing title. Now, it's an exercise. It's very interesting, I think, to look this up. But if you want a tool that will help you with that, the Publisher Rocket tool by Dave Chesson is fantastic. This is an affiliate link, which means we get a percentage if you use our link. You don't have to. You can also Google Publisher Rocket. We purchased this tool and use it. It's a great tool. I do recommend it. So if you want to save some time, Publisher Rocket will help you identify categories as well as keywords. Now, once you've identified your top 3 categories, and you're going to base that on the categories you think you have the best chance to get the most visibility. Now, let me just clarify. So the category of memoir is massive. The category of sports memoir is tiny. We're aiming for smaller categories because you have a better chance of being in the top of those. Okay. So to edit your categories, if you're published through KDP, you do that through your KDP account. If you're published anywhere other than KDP, traditional publisher, hybrid, wherever it is, go to Author Central, click Contact Us, and you can request that they change your book's categories. You can choose 3 categories. It used to be that you could choose 10, and it was so disappointing. Amazon changed that policy down to 3 categories, but you can still get a lot of traction with 3 well-chosen categories. You can also choose categories in other countries. If you have a presence and your books are selling well in any other country, this is a good exercise. So definitely, if you have an audience following you in the UK, in Canada, in India, in Mexico, wherever it is, you may want to also adjust your categories, do the same exercise in those countries. So Mark Paul's book, again, self-published. It has been 5 years. He has sold almost 60,000 copies, you guys. This is what's possible for all of us. And full disclosure, I work directly with Mark Paul, but I am going to tell you exactly how he's accomplished this. By the way, he has no social media presence. He is not an online influencer. I've got great news for you. Totally doable. All right, so here is how we continue to optimize for Amazon. First of all, hosting a pre-sale of your book on Amazon prior to it going live is one way that you can definitely hit Amazon category bestseller lists. This is a way to build sales momentum. So you can put your book up for pre-sale. It could be several weeks or even several months prior to its official launch date. And then what happens is as you're accumulating pre-sales, all of those sales count on the official launch date. And that can put your book in hot new releases, certainly the top of the categories that you've chosen prior to doing this. So it's definitely a great way to make a big splash on launch day. This works particularly well if you have a large audience already, or if you can build up enough sales to make a big splash on launch day. Dr. Karen Gordon, another self-published book, another author I worked with directly, hit the Wall Street Journal bestsellers list using a pre-sale campaign. So she put her book up for sale several months in advance, worked very hard to drive those early sales, and was able to hit the Wall Street Journal bestsellers list. Now, unfortunately, that list is retired. Wall Street Journal is no longer doing that. You can still potentially make the USA Today list. They do include Amazon sales in their tabulations. The New York Times does not. USA Today does, but there's no guarantee that you may or may not reach it. It is decided by editors there. You also need to also generate sales from brick and mortar stores. If they see that there's nothing but sales from Amazon, they probably won't put it on the list. So don't bank on this. But the point is, pre-sales can be a way to definitely hit the top of Amazon categories. Now, if you don't want to do a pre-sale, the alternative that I personally prefer, even though I have an audience, I like a soft launch. A soft launch is where you quietly release your book, you don't tell anybody, and then that gives you time to get all your ducks in a row. So you claim your book on Author Central, you make sure that your book page is updated, you've got great copy on there. You reach out to some of your maybe your early beta readers, you ask them to post reviews. So you can still make all the category bestsellers lists once you announce, especially if you have a decent audience. But it just allows you to be really prepared prior to that announcement. This is my personal preference, but certainly a pre sale can work as well. So, how do you choose? If you have a large platform or a budget for advertising, a pre-sale can be a solid strategy. You can almost guarantee you're going to hit some top of category bestsellers lists. But by the way, you can also reach the top of categories with a soft launch, provided you make a big splash with the official launch. So, our goal overall is to make sure that people are finding our books on Amazon. This is the challenge. When someone goes to search for a book like yours, you want your book to show up in the top 10 of search results. Top five would be even better. And you want to think of Amazon like a big search engine. We use Amazon like Google. Think about how you use Amazon to purchase products or books. You go in there and you search for a book about becoming a runner, book about living gluten free, whatever it is. Those might be the types of things that you're searching for and that your readers are searching for. So, what we want to do is optimize our books to get found when our potential readers search for them. So, the way Amazon determines which books are going to show up in search results. Now, keep in mind, Amazon has millions of books in its database. And there's some estimates that are as many as 1 million new titles are being released a year, you guys. It is an absolute ocean. So, how do we show up in the top 10? Part of the way that Amazon is deciding which books are going to display is based on their algorithms. Their algorithms are basically their technology that decides and ranks books and how they're going to appear. Now, they don't publish this information. This is what we believe they're doing. They're basing the top placement of books based on how well they're selling recently, how many people are clicking through, how many people are making a purchase on the book, the number of book reviews the book has, and the keyword phrases. Let's dive into each of these. Recent sales history. Look, sales beget sales. If your book is currently selling, maybe you've got a campaign going and you're promoting it and you're driving sales. That is a good thing. That tells Amazon's algorithms this book is popular. Let's give it a higher priority. That's a good thing. So, recent current sales history helps your book rank. Click through and conversion rates. What this means is if your book shows up in the search results and I click on it, that's called a click through. That gives you points with Amazon's algorithms. Now, if I purchase the book, that is a conversion. Even better, you've gotten a click and a conversion, double points for Amazon. If I click through and I don't purchase the book, that's not good. That is failing to convert. That's a problem. So what we want to attract click-throughs are great title and book cover. And then the conversion, the actual purchase of the book happens because it has a description that meets the need that I'm searching for. So you want to match that. Also, book reviews influence that purchase. So click through and conversion, this is part of Amazon's algorithm in determining how it ranks. Search phrases are one of the places that you have some control. So when I search for memoir about grief, these are the results I got. Now you could search for it and get different results. The top results is a sponsored book, which means that this Future Widow book is currently being run, Amazon ads are running on it. The second book is a self-published title. It's currently in first position of the results. And then there's one with a bestseller tag. So the point is, if you have a memoir about grief, or you have a memoir about abuse, or you have a memoir about addiction, memoir about topic should be part of your search phrases and woven into the description of your book, if not in the title or subtitle. So, keywords are essential. Keyword phrases. What are your potential readers searching to find a book like yours? This is why traditionally published books sell well. The big five publishers know how to do this. And this is where a lot of self published authors are missing the mark. I am a huge memoir reader. I search for things like memoir about mental health. And I'm always disappointed to see how few memoirs are actually showing up in that search that I know should be there because they aren't optimized with the right search phrase. So you can compete with the big publishers if you get a good handle on your keyword phrases. So what we want to do is identify what are our readers searching for, and then we incorporate that into what's called the metadata. Now, when your book is published, whether you're doing it yourself or through a publisher, you submit suggested keyword phrases. So things like memoir about grief, memoir about overcoming trauma, memoir about whatever you think people are searching for. And then you want to incorporate whatever your top search terms are, ideally into at least your book subtitle. And for sure, in the book sales copy, you will also use keywords in your Amazon ads, which I'm going to talk about. So, taking note of keywords is going to be a critical part of your homework. Now, here's a great tool. When you're in Amazon and you start to type in a keyword phrase, memoir about grief, grief memoir, for example, Amazon's going to show you suggested search terms. These are the most popular search terms based on what you've just typed in. Play with this tool. So when I type in write nonfiction, it's showing me phrases like how to write nonfiction, how to write your first nonfiction book. This is telling me what people are searching for based on a couple of my keywords. Okay, so make sure you play with this. This is just the Amazon search bar. Do this on a desktop so you can see all those results. Capture a screenshot and use those as part of your keyword planning. So what we want to do is incorporate your top keyword phrases are going to go into your metadata when you publish the book. You want to just build a list of keyword phrases, as many as possible. They're also useful for your website traffic. So those keyword phrases, if I go back here, if you're trying to build traffic to your author website, these are also keyword phrases you should be writing articles about, you guys, because it tells you they're popular search terms and could also bring website traffic to your site. So, updating the content of your book page, maybe to incorporate some key phrases into your book description, for example, you would do that through Author Central. This is a free tool, regardless of where your book is published. You go to author.amazon.com and that will take you to Author Central. If you haven't yet registered, you can register an account once your book is live, claim the account, and you can update your book page. You can update your book description and sales copy. You can add editorial reviews. You can add your author bio and photo. So, Amazon Central is a great free tool to help you really optimize your book's sales page. Now, next up in the Amazon algorithms are book reviews. Amazon wants to see more book reviews. It tells them your book is popular. We don't know for sure, but we believe somewhere between 50 to 75 reviews on a book kicks Amazon's algorithms into gear, meaning your book is going to get more visibility. It's going to start showing up more in search results in similar books that people enjoy. So, really, a goal for all of us. And let me tell you guys, book reviews are tough to get. I think we all have great intentions and intend to write reviews, but we get busy, we forget. Be forgiving of the people who've promised to write you reviews. Don't be afraid to nudge them. But really, it should be an ongoing practice for all of us to be asking for book reviews. Now, verified reviews hold the most weight. This means that reviewer purchased that book. So if they purchased the book, then it's going to show up as a verified review. If they didn't buy the book on Amazon and they write a review, that tag won't be there. And if you have nothing but reviews that aren't verified, that can look like you're gaming the system. So we want a nice combination of those. But getting reviews not only helps with Amazon's algorithms, but it also helps readers decide to buy your book. I don't know about you, but I absolutely lean on Amazon reviews when deciding on books or any type of product purchase. Now, you can ask for book reviews from anyone, really, as long as they have an Amazon account and they've spent $50 there in the last year, they're allowed to write a review. Now, for things like beta readers, you should ask them to put a disclaimer in their review. I received an advanced copy of this book in exchange for my honest review. That will help keep that review there, that Amazon isn't likely to remove it. Amazon is known for removing non-verified reviews if they think it's somebody you know or a friend or something like that. So putting a disclaimer can help that review stay there. And it's really what they should be doing anyway if they did receive an advanced copy of the book. Now, Amazon has some definite rules around book reviews. The biggest one that I see authors violating quite a bit is offering any kind of incentive in exchange for a review. You cannot have a campaign that says, I'll give you a free report if you review my book. I'll give you a free course if you review my book. I'll enter you to win a gift card if you review my book. Amazon will can actually ban your book from receiving reviews if it knows that you're doing this. So do not offer incentive for book reviews. You also cannot ask anyone involved in the production of your books, your editor, your ghostwriter, your book formatter, your publisher. None of these people are allowed to write reviews based on Amazon's terms. Amazon doesn't want to see friends and family. Let's be honest, everybody leans on friends and family for book reviews, but they may get removed if Amazon think that they're connected to you. It's another good reason for them to put that disclaimer. I received an advanced copy of this book in exchange, or a complimentary copy of this book in exchange for my honest review. That is allowed. Never, ever, 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 ever pay for Amazon reviews. There's been lots of controversy around authors doing this over the years through Fiverr, going in and buying Amazon book reviews. Horrible practice, can get you banned from Amazon. Just don't do it. Now, how can you get more reviews? Ask. I start with my community of influence. Who do you know? Your peers, your friends, your coworkers, people you know that you can send copies of the book to. This is why we send out review copies. It is with the intention of, if they like the book, they'll write a review. That is perfectly fine to say that. If you like the book, please post a review. So I really recommend an exercise of making a list of who can you ask to post a review of your book. And authors, I learned this lesson the hard way. If you get an email from a reader, which is one of the most exciting things I feel as an author, is to hear from a reader with positive feedback, your immediate response should be, thank you so much. Would you please take a moment to write a review on Amazon? It would really help me out. Be sure to ask. Get in the habit of asking. It is super important. I forget to do it myself. You can offer review copies in online groups. So just get in the habit of for always seeking more book reviews. Now, you can also enlist in some paid services. There's Midwest Book Review, NetGalley. There's promotion sites like BookBub, FreeBooksy. These sites allow you to do either free ebook giveaways or low cost book promotions, like selling your ebook for $2.99. And by the way, this isn't even public yet, but we are going to be offering a very similar service through our sister site, nonfictionbookclub.com. So check it out if you want to sign up over there. You can get notified of these free and low cost book promotions. We're really excited to connect nonfiction authors and readers. That's coming very soon. But the point is, when you invest in any of these kind of promotional campaigns, it can absolutely lead to generating more book reviews. Not guaranteed, but in most cases, you absolutely will end up with more book reviews. All right, next up is understanding KDP Select and Kindle Unlimited. Now, KDP Select program is through Amazon. You can only participate if your Amazon Kindle edition is published through KDP. That's Amazon's publishing platform. And enrolling in KDP Select means that you're giving Amazon exclusive distribution rights to your ebook. It means that your ebook cannot be distributed at barnesandnoble.com and the Apple bookstore, anywhere else other than KDP. This is how Amazon creates monopolies. This is a very monopolistic practice, there's no doubt. However, if you enroll in this program, that gives you the ability to participate in free ebook giveaways as a way to drive visibility for your ebook and potentially get new book reviews, or low cost campaigns, sell it for $2.99 for a couple of weeks and drive more sales, and more sales can lead to sales of the paperback and the audiobook and things like that. So there's pros and cons on both sides. If you're not already generating a ton of sales on the other ebook platforms, you can always test out enrolling in KDP Select for 90 days. And if you find you don't like it or it's not working, you can opt out of it. I like KDP Select for the first book in a series. This is how many fiction authors use it. Their first book in a mystery series or a romance series might be free or might be sold for 99 cents, with the goal of getting readers hooked on that first book. It's like that free taste at the cookie store, right? Here's a great taste of a cookie. Ooh, I want more cookies. Now I'm going to buy the rest of the books in the series. So if you have a series, for sure, the KDP Select for your first book in the series can be a great strategy. Also, if you have lagging book sales, this can be a way to boost them. Also, under the KDP Select umbrella, you can opt into the Kindle Unlimited program. This basically makes your ebook available for free download to ebook readers who subscribe to this program. You only get paid based on the number of pages read in your book. You don't get paid on the number of downloads, you get paid on the number of pages read. And it's not a specific amount, it's not a penny per page or anything like that. It's based on this pool of funds that Amazon allocates. It is the goofiest system. These programs are very popular with fiction readers in particular because, especially those people who read lots and lots of books, it's a great way for them to get access to free books. With authors, if you're writing good books that people are reading all the way through, you can certainly get paid. You just won't get paid as much. The flip side of that is you're potentially getting more readers, more reviews. So, first book in a series is a good choice. If you need more book reviews, if you want to revive a book that's not selling very well, this is an option to test. Again, you have to enroll in KDP Select to do this. So, test it out for 90 days, see how it goes. And that's one way to get those sales and those book reviews going. All right. Amazon pay-per-click advertising, especially for those of us who write nonfiction, can be very effective. Now, I hear from lots of authors saying it's not working for me. Let's talk about why that might be the case. First of all, for sponsored books, you'll see them on Amazon book pages. So they look like this. You're going to see that there's the sponsored books. Those are all books that are currently running ads on Amazon. And when you search for books on Amazon, search for books about running, search for a memoir about grief, the top results are always going to be sponsored books. So if you want your book to appear in search results, investing in pay-per-click ads will help guarantee that that's happening. Now, there's different types of ads that you can run. Automatic ads, you're basically just giving Amazon a budget and they are placing your ads for you. Now, all ads are pay per click based, which means that your book could appear in those results, but you're not paying for it until somebody clicks on it. You might pay anywhere from 25 cents for a click up to several dollars for really competitive keyword phrases. Excuse me. What you really want to do with these ads is decide if you want to set up keyword ads. So remember, we're collecting keywords that we believe our authors are searching for, and we want to set an ad budget. I recommend $10 a day as a minimum. Now, yes, that adds up to about $300 a month, and I know that sounds like a big spend for some, but what happens is ideally you're earning much of that back as you're accumulating book sales. So you're spending 300 and in the first month or maybe 2 or 3 months, you're kind of tuning the performance of your keywords, but you might earn back $150 in sales that first month. You might even earn back all 300. It just really depends on how well your ads convert, if your book sales copy is converting. There's so many factors that go into that. But we want to run ads for a minimum of 60 days. Don't turn them off. Run them for 60 days because that gives Amazon time to get their algorithms working and make sure that your book has a chance to earn back the ad spend. So you only pay when somebody clicks on your ad. Your bids can be several dollars per click for highly competitive keyword phrases. For those of you writing niche nonfiction, this can work really, really well using these ads. And if your book converts well, when somebody clicks on it and you're sure that your sales copy is dialed in, it's going to sell, that can be a worthy investment. Here's an example of an automatic ad on Amazon. In this ad, I spent $378 and generated $1,800 in sales. I will say these results aren't typical, but they are possible. This is another example of a keyword ad. I spent $1,500. I generated $2,600 in sales. Also not typical results, but powerful when it happens. Now, the Amazon Ads dashboard allows you to see how your keywords are performing and set your bid amounts. You can turn off keywords that aren't performing. You guys, we could spend 3 hours going through Amazon Ads. I know this can be a little bit confusing. Don't worry, you're going to get the slides in the recording. But the point here is that this is how Mark Paul has sold almost 60,000 copies of his memoir using nothing but Amazon ads, you guys. So he went all in on Amazon ads. He identified the proper categories, the horse racing categories, the organized crime categories. He has a great book cover, a really compelling book description. The reviews are really positive for the book. Therefore, his ads are converting. So he has no social media platform. He is not an online influencer in any way. He has achieved these sales with nothing but Amazon ads. So I've interviewed Mark. He's spoken at several of our events over the years. Step one, write a great book. Make sure it's well edited. Make sure that readers get to the end of it and say, oh my gosh, I need to tell someone about this book. I've really enjoyed it. That is step one. We want to identify our best categories and come up with keywords that readers are searching for. In Mark's case, think about books about horses, horse racing books, gambling books, books about betting, books about the Kentucky Derby, lots of keywords naturally built into this memoir. And then you want to also identify keywords that are competing author names and book titles like Secretariat and Seabiscuit and things like that. Those all become part of his keywords so that a reader goes and searches for Secretariat. Mark's book is showing up in the sponsored search results. Now, he admits he spends $7,000 a month to earn $10,000 in sales. That is a big spend. But the fact is, as long as you're earning back more than you're spending, you're coming out ahead, right? And so he's able to do this. I definitely do not suggest trying to spend $7,000 out of the gate. I recommend you aim for $10 a day if you can. But that has been his strategy, and he's increased his budget over the last 5 years. He also enrolled in Kindle Unlimited late, maybe 3 years into this. And he said it's absolutely boosted his readership, but it has lowered his income. So he's not earning as much because the Kindle Unlimited, the way Amazon pays based on pages read, is still far lower than you would receive if they were buying it for the Kindle price. But he also sells really well in his categories. And even though he's in the number 7 position in organized crime, this category sells most books for him more than being number 1 in the horse racing category, because there are far more readers looking in the organized crime category. So these categories really matter, you guys. So a result of all this investment in his Amazon ads, aside from his book reaching top sales status in categories for 5 straight years, is that Amazon reached out to him and offered him this free promotion. They gave us a whole lot of love because it was selling so well. NPR reached out and did this phenomenal interview with him, where it's like highly produced, and you can listen to it if you go to markpaulauthor.com. And the book's been optioned for film. I can't credit that specifically to the Amazon ads, but the fact that the book has performed so well and has over 3,000 reviews definitely helped for film negotiations, right? So all your homework from this lots of content we've just covered here, you're going to identify keyword phrases that your potential readers would use to find a book like yours. You're going to come up with similar author names and book titles. You just want as many keywords as possible for your ads. Do the research. You may want to purchase that Publisher Rocket software that I mentioned. It will help you identify keywords and categories. It's a really great tool. If you want help setting up your ads, bookgeeksmarketing.com is one service provider. Janet Margot owns that company. She's a former Amazon employee that you can hire to set up your ads for you. There's also booksgosocial.com with Lawrence O'Brien. They're based in Ireland, but they work with a ton of US-based clients, and they will actually set up and manage your ads for you at a very reasonable budget. So those are some resources. I know ads are complex and you might be a little bit overwhelmed by this, but I really believe in them for those of us who write nonfiction. Here is what the Publisher Rocket keyword generator looks like. This is my own research of looking up published nonfiction, and it's showing me what books are competitive to mine. All right, so also key to success with your Amazon ads and Amazon in general, we need great book titles, great book covers. Please don't use AI to generate your book cover. Please don't use inexpensive book design tools and things like that. I really believe that we should invest in great book cover design and great editing. I am not a designer. I am not an editor. I am a writer like you. And these are the two things I think that really help make a book sell. We absolutely judge books based on the cover and also the sales copy, that it really makes the reader want to buy the book. You can test out the different types of ads in the Amazon ads system, set your budget, and then monitor the results. The dashboard is pretty user-friendly. You can log in and look at it and adjust as you go. And if your ads aren't converting, you need to audit the situation. Is the cover not catching people's eye? Is the title confusing? I see this a lot. Cute titles, can be fun, but if it doesn't tell the reader what the book is about, you're totally missing out on sales. So you may even need to rethink the title, ask for an outside opinion, hire somebody to audit it for you, look at maybe hire a copywriter to write your copy, or connect with fellow writers and work together to support each other in producing really great written content. But give your ads 60 to 90 days before you decide they're not working. And then overall, your Amazon strategy is to come up with your keywords, incorporate those into your book sales page, into your metadata when the book is published. You're going to research your categories, request the best 3 categories, ideally smaller niche categories for each edition of your book, with the goal of reaching the top 10 and staying there for the long term, which you can do with Amazon ads and your other book marketing strategy. We want to have an ongoing effort to try to get more book reviews and test out Amazon ads. Okay, I know that was a lot. I want to take your questions quickly before we do that. For those of you who are new to us, I know we have a lot of new folks today. I just wanted to mention we do these events twice a month. And if you're not familiar with the Nonfiction Authors Association, we'd love for you to join our community. We share every Friday, our members get podcasts seeking guests. We get lists of sources where you can place your articles. We have a massive database that includes free legal agreements and templates and checklists. We do twice monthly Zoom community chats, which are my favorite because I get to lead those, and we do Q&A with the members. We also have member mastermind groups. We have a private Facebook group. We have a Meet the Members program where you can share your book announcements. Our members get discounts off our year-round Nonfiction Book Awards program. We have really popular courses in book publishing. Book publicity is coming up next month. Book marketing, I teach that course. And we also run an annual Nonfiction Writers Conference entirely online. And then we also get discounts with partners and many other benefits. So we'd love to see you in our community. I know we have members on the line today. If you're here, maybe give a shout out in the chat about how membership has benefited you. I would appreciate that. And I'm sure others would as well. So we'd love to have you join us. And now I would love to take your questions. So I'm going to stop the share. If you have a question for me, please pop it in the Q&A. I'm going to put that join link in the chat as well in case you want to join us. We would certainly love to have you. And let's dig into your Q&A. So first question, how do you recommend pricing a print book? My understanding is you can change the price whenever you want. Jay, that is actually not entirely accurate. While you can change the price on your print book, you actually have to also change the barcode on the book cover because it has to encode the book price. And so you would need to replace your book cover file in order to change the price. So your book price decisions should really be based on the market for your type of book. What are similar books selling for? You don't want to be too high. You don't want to be too low. You want to be somewhere generally in the middle. Niche books in nonfiction can often sell for more, but definitely look at your competition. With your ebook pricing, you can change your price as often as you want. You could change it every day if you wanted to. There's no barcode involved. You're allowed to change your ebook price. Melinda says, does Amazon take the keywords in your book description page into consideration for their algorithm? Yes, Melinda, they do, which is why you want to identify kind of the top keyword phrases and work those into your book description on Amazon. Very important to help your book with discoverability. Now, with all this buzz around AI, we believe that at some point Amazon is going to start indexing book content and producing search results based on the content of your book. I think this is good news. Don't be scared, you guys. Plagiarism and concerns aside, hopefully Amazon will index our book interior content because that's going to help us get better discovery in the long run. So absolutely, keywords in your book description are very important. Melinda says, is distribution via Ingram more efficient than expanded distribution via Amazon? I also thought you had to give something up on Kindle if you publish expanded via Ingram. Okay, Melinda, so you're talking about publishing your book via Ingram Spark. So here's what I recommend. If you're publishing your book, your print book through KDP, do not choose Amazon's expanded distribution. Instead, go publish the same book with the same ISBN on Ingram Spark and use their expanded distribution, which is broader than Amazon's. Also, think about the fact that no brick and mortar store wants anything to do with any book produced by Amazon. You do not want that to be part of your book's identity. So distributing directly to Amazon through KDP is step one. Step two is expanded distribution through Ingram Spark. Cynthia says, I'll be using Ingram Spark. Should I list separately on Amazon? I think I just answered that. How do you market a book that is an allegorical story based on a real life experience? The Alchemist. So, Kathy, that would probably be similar to figuring out what is the allegory about? Is it about overcoming trauma? Is it about accepting change? Figure out the keywords that people would be searching. When I think allegory, I always think of Who Moved My Cheese. That book was it's more than 20 years old. I was in the Silicon Valley when that book came out, and the publisher got the company I worked for to buy and give copies out to all of the staff 2 weeks before they laid off half the company. So the book was all about navigating change and change in the workforce. They marketed to companies as a way to prepare people for mass layoffs. I mean, talk about a marketing strategy, but figure out who is the target reader for your allegory and what is the message in the book, and look for maybe the nonfiction versions of those readers and use those as your keywords and your comparables. Is it true that if you have two ads with the same keywords, the ads will compete with each other? Presuming you should make sure you have different keywords and different ads. Not necessarily, Melinda. We don't believe Amazon is doing that. Deborah, can you address the recent changes to KDP publishing, the new KDP Create program they're requiring we use to publish? It is awful. They don't seem to accept regular doc and PDF uploads, despite saying so. Look, Deborah, everything about KDP is super frustrating. Amazon, as I said earlier, we all have a love-hate relationship. I have not directly worked with this new Create program. I could go on and on for days about my absolute frustrations with KDP in general, but you're probably gonna have to turn to the KDP forums for that. I'm just not a super fan of publishing through Amazon. Chelsea, when will the new nonfiction book club be launching? We're looking for ways to generate more review opportunities. Thanks for asking, Chelsea. So Nonfiction Book Club, the site has been up for a long time. It's nonfictionbookclub.com. We currently have a big banner that says sign up to get notified of free and low-cost book giveaways. That program will be out in the next month. So watch your email for that or sign up over at nonfictionbookclub.com. We also have a free Facebook group with more than 6,500 people in it. You can join that as well. And that links from nonfictionbookclub.com. But watch, that announcement's coming soon. And I am super excited. I think we can really help authors connect with readers through this program. Joe, should you really encode the list price and the barcode on a printed book? I've read about people not putting it there so they can easily change the price. So no, the barcode is required by retailers. You don't have to type in the price on the barcode. There's an option to print the price on the barcode itself. That you can leave off, but it still has to be encoded into the barcode. Is Books.buy an alternative to Amazon? I don't know anything about Books.buy. KDP was saying you can't pre-sell paper book, only Kindle. That is correct. Okay, Kelly, great question. So KDP does not allow pre-sales of the print books on the site, but you know who does? Ingram Spark. Don't ask me why, but if you want to do a pre-sale of your print book, you can do it through Ingram Spark. And if you want to do a pre-sale of your Kindle, you can do that through KDP. I have no idea why Amazon doesn't allow pre-sales. It's nuts, but that's Amazon for you. What do you think about asking fellow authors to share in pre-book sales to donate an article, ebook, or other item of value. So we have bonus giveaways when folks buy early. I see that quite a bit, especially with NSA authors. Does that violate any rules? Teresa, I love this question. No, I love doing bonuses with a book launch. And what that means is that as you're doing your book promotion, you're saying, buy the book, input your sales order number into a form, and we'll give you these bonuses with your purchase. Now, the bonuses could be something you create yourself. It could be workbook pages or a bonus chapter, something like that, or doing what you suggest and connecting with maybe fellow authors and asking them to provide bonus content that you can include as a bonus when people buy your book. I love these campaigns. They're a great way to get more visibility for the book because your partners who are also giving content to share with the buyers should also be helping to promote the book. So it's a great and can be a very effective strategy. It's one of my favorites. If you change your book price on KDP dashboard, do they automatically update your barcode? Melinda, no. I believe you have to go through the process to reinitiate that barcode. Any recommendations on selling books in Norway? My understanding is Amazon doesn't sell there, but they do sell in Sweden. Oh my goodness, FJ, I'm not familiar with the Norwegian market. What I have learned is that in other countries, there are different book retailers that people turn to more than Amazon. So that would be a question for other Norwegians, if we have any in the community, and if you know where people are going to buy their books, please share. Maybe do a Google search on where people buy books in Norway and find that out. If you have more questions, put them in the Q&A. The chat is super busy. I cannot sort through that. And I'm happy to stay and continue taking questions. I'll just add that I am going to share this recording and the slides. So watch for that email to hit your inbox later today. Hopefully you all got some new ideas out of this. And if you have more questions, pop them in the Q&A. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. And it looks like we had a lot of questions about publishing. So if you're having questions about book publishing, you can also find tons of free resources over at Nonfiction Authors Association.com. In fact, under the freebies section of the site, we have a free report on a self-publishing checklist. We have a report on how to land a book deal. We have tons of free content in the blog. We have webinar archives. So content galore. You can get all your questions answered through our community. And Judy asks, is it worth updating a 2013 book with new interviews and stories of famous people? Hey, Judy. Yeah, a book that's 12 years old, doing a second edition is a fantastic strategy to do a new launch. Refresh the book. If you like the cover or don't like the cover, you might update that. But absolutely updating the content, giving it some fresh interviews and things like that is a reason for a whole new book launch campaign. So absolutely a great strategy. Cynthia, we are sharing the replays with non-members for this event today. Lisa says, is there an alternative to publishing an ebook or print book on Amazon, or is Amazon the gold standard for ebooks and print books, despite the frustration? Definitely, there are alternatives, but I will say, I do recommend you publish your Kindle book directly to Amazon. If you do it outside of Amazon, you lose access to things like the KDP Select program. You're just going to get better results by publishing your Kindle edition through Amazon. You can also publish your print books elsewhere, Ingram Spark, Lulu, Draft to Digital, lots of other options. And I'm not going to go down a list, but there's lots of places to publish them. I am currently recommending that print books are published either through KDP or Ingram Spark as your primary print book distribution platform. I'm not going to go into why, but there's just those are your fastest paths to selling through Amazon. For ebooks outside of Amazon, ebooks to Apple, ebooks to Barnes and Noble, ebooks to all the other ebook directories, Kobo and things like that, you can either go directly to those retailers or you can distribute your ebook through a platform like Draft to Digital. So that's how I recommend doing it. Used to be Smashwords. They were acquired by Draft to Digital. That will save you some time. They take a very small percentage and manage all that other ebook distribution for you. I tried to update my author bio through Author Central, but it tells me the book is already claimed. That's not good, Dinah. And that might be that your publisher claimed the book. You should email Author Central customer support. When you're logged into Author Central, scroll all the way down. There's a contact us link. They're actually pretty responsive, especially for an Amazon service. Author Central does actually respond to stuff. It appears you're looking to read people's questions with Stream to help look at your audience better. Would you be willing to share how you have your monitors set up? I'm on one monitor, Kristen. I'm on Zoom here. I've got the Q&A over here. I can't follow the chat because I just get so overwhelmed with the number of discussions, but my quick scroll through there looks like we're getting some nice feedback. So thank you for that. I know we're out of time, guys. I appreciate you so much for spending yours with me. I hope this was helpful. I will share the recording and the slides with everyone. Watch your inbox. Consider joining us if you're not yet part of our community. And also go sign up at nonfictionbookclub.com for the free ebook giveaways and low-cost promotions. Those are coming very soon. I'm so excited about them. And I look forward to sharing that with you. So best wishes on your author journey. I hope to see you in our community very soon. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much, everyone. Take good care.
Thank you for attending this webinar by the Nonfiction Authors Association. Since 2010, we have helped thousands of writers learn to write, publish, and promote books that make a difference in the world. If you need support navigating the complexities of the publishing industry and want to reach your author goals faster, you can learn about membership benefits, courses, and additional resources by visiting nonfictionauthorsassociation.com.